We're going down the fat electrician rabbit hole. I need to know what. Oh, I actually don't like. I used to eat Subway when I was in college.
You know it's gonna be good when I have to call my lawyer before I post the video. Today we're talking about Subway. Why? Because I went there for like the first time in 10 years the other day, and they asked me for a tip at checkout, which annoyed me. So then I looked into it, and then I found out that you can get hepatitis from a sandwich. I'm not exaggerating, that actually happened, and it's like...
Hepatitis from a sandwich? I had to pause it there because I'm like, wait, did he just say hepatitis from a sandwich? Lord, Lord have mercy. You could get hepatitis from a freaking sandwich, bro.
The tip of the iceberg, and to be honest with you, this is also the part where my lawyer explicitly told me to insert a disclaimer in this video. So here's Jake the lawyer, aka the Internet Esquire.
Okay, here's the deal, Subway Group, now wholly owned by affiliates of Rourke Capital and formerly known as Pizza Super Submarine Sandwiches. My client, the Mr. Fat Electrician, is providing in this video true or substantially true information derived from reasonably reliable and publicly available material. There are no known falsehoods made, and any analysis of the material presented is made solely for the purposes of news reporting, protected commentary, or new understandings. In no way is this video or the things said by my client in this video in any medium now known or hereafter devised throughout the universe and in perpetuity in any way a sponsorship or endorsement of Subway Group. And any so-called conclusions drawn by my client as a result of the material are that of opinion, satire, or are otherwise accurate depictions preserved in their full context when not otherwise artistically interpreted for the purposes of valuable public commentary. And notwithstanding the foregoing, we reserve all right, title, and interest in and to the presentation of the materials presented in this audiovisual format, and with God as our witness, pray that no binders be bound against you as a result of this video. I'm Jake the lawyer, signing off.
All right, in case you can't tell, this video is going to be unhinged, so let's just get the ad out of the way now, and then we can watch my blood pressure rise for the next 15 minutes straight. All right, story time. I used to go to Subway every single day my junior, senior year of high school, and the entire time I was in college, I pretty much exclusively survived off of Subway and protein shakes. And this is back in the day when that Jared from Subway guy that lost a bunch of weight was still in every other TV commercial and plastered all over billboards all over the country, and footlongs were $5. So when I went into Subway the other day for the first time in like 10 years, I was expecting the price, you know, probably went up a little bit. Inflation, everything going on, it's probably not $5 anymore. That's fine. I go in, I have my sandwich made, I get to checkout. My sandwich was like $19.
They said market price.
$19? Bro, you can make 10 sandwiches with that.
So right out of the gate, there's some sticker shock, but immediately I'm looking for silver linings. I'm like, okay, Subway's probably one of these companies that has like a pretty high minimum wage for their workers, and that's what's going to justify the price of the sandwich. It's actually going to the worker. That, you know what, that's fine. And then the cashier does the classic swivel the fucking tablet around, asking me how much money I want to leave for a tip.
Oh, you motherfucker.
Dude, I swear these stores are getting way too comfortable, bro. I've seen this. What am I gonna tip you for? Serving me a sandwich? These restaurants and these chains, man.
Immediately, I caved to societal pressure because I don't want this young lady to think I'm an asshole, so I leave a tip, I grab my sandwich, I go eat my sandwich. While I'm eating the sandwich, I'm just stewing. Like, I don't think I should have to tip the people that work at Subway. Not because I don't think, you know, they provide a service, they did a good job, or, you know, they deserve to make more money. They do, that's fine. But the company should be paying them more fucking money. I just paid 300% more money for my sandwich. Pay your employees more money. I understand Subway's a restaurant and like you tip people that work at restaurants, but it's not like I sat down, a waiter came out, took my drink order, took my food order, brought me my food. There was no service involved, okay? I stood there and told you how to make the fucking sandwich. I was the project manager on this sandwich, okay? As far as I'm concerned, I'm part of the team.
Part of the crew, part of the ship. Part of the crew, part of the man.
At this point, I become convinced at some point in the past 10 years, all the big wigs at Subway got together in their headquarters in some secret underground layer underneath the volcano or wherever Subway's headquarters is, and they had a meeting, and in that meeting, they were like, okay, guys, we need to pay our employees more money. Option A, we can raise the price of the sandwich 300% and pay our employees more money. Option B, we can raise the price of the sandwich 300% and then we can add a tip screen. That way, when the employees are mad they're not making enough money, we shift the blame from us to the customers. Okay, I'm sorry, you don't get to charge me 4 times as much for a sandwich and then also try to paint me as an asshole to the high schooler behind the cash register. It's not gonna happen. So now I gotta know everything. I start digging into Subway.
What is... Grab
a shovel.
So once upon a time, 1965, there's a 17-year-old kid named Fred DeLuca, and he wants to go off to medical school, but he doesn't have enough money to pay for it. So he's like, hey, my family has this rich friend. He's a nuclear physicist. He's got all kinds of money. I'm going to go to him and ask for his advice, probably secretly hoping that the guy's just going to offer to pay for my college. To his surprise, instead, nuclear physicist guy is like, I'm not going to pay for your college, but I will give you $1,000 to start a sandwich shop, and me and you can go into business together, and then you can use the money from the sandwich shop to pay for medical school. And $1,000 in 1965 is like 20 grand today, so not an insignificant amount of money. So they open up Pete's Submarines, which is the original name for Subway, and for the first couple of years, they don't really make any money, and a humongous problem they have is people keep calling to order pizza. Because apparently Fred DeLuca in all the radio advertisements has a thick New York accent, so when he says Pete's Submarines, what people hear is Pizza Marines. So rather than learning how to say Pete's Submarines, he's like, fuck it, we're just gonna rename the restaurant Subway. From here, they start like breaking even. They're making a little bit of money, but like it's nothing to write home about. He's not gonna be able to go to medical school anytime soon. And he's like, okay, hear me out. I've got an idea. We're not really making any money with the submarine shop. What if we double down and open a second submarine shop?
Dream.
Bro, is this gonna be another like they dropped the ball? Like, is this actually gonna be another dropping the ball story for real?
Big. Right?
Basically, he uses reverse psychology into tricking people to come in to eat these sandwiches, because when he opens up a second location, people are like, oh my God, they're opening up second locations. They're expanding. They must be delicious. And he starts getting more business. Some of the best advice I've ever heard in my entire life when I was in the military was fake it till you make it. And that's exactly what they're doing here. And it works. Now, ultimately, this is going to be their downfall. But at the time, it makes sense. Fred identifies, hey, rapid expansion is what's making money. We're going to keep rapidly expanding. More locations, more money, more market dominance. Makes sense. So they start opening up Subways everywhere, and then they start franchising, which is, you know, basically, hey, you can use my branding, you can use all my vendors, I'll show you how to do this job. You pay me a bunch of money to open up a Subway, and then you give me like a percentage of your cut, and then they just start opening up franchises all over the United States. And this is actually brilliant for Subway because Subway has a ton of advantages when it comes to franchising. Because Subway, they're just making sandwiches. They don't need deep fryers. They don't need a big cooktop. They don't need all the stuff that other restaurants need. They don't need a ton of special equipment. There's not a bunch of special training. Everybody on the planet knows how to make a sandwich. So the overhead to open up a new restaurant is extremely low. The amount of training you have to give employees is extremely low. And the amount of space that you actually need to have a functioning Subway is also extremely low because, again, they don't have ovens and deep fryers and all that other shit. Which also means that it's really cheap to start a Subway because there's not a lot of overhead. So you could open up a Subway for like $150,000 to $200,000 where...
Dude, this is capitalism, man. Chat, what business, chat, I need you to let me know, what business do we start? What's our venture gonna be where we can we can make that much money? Dude, I need to figure out, like, what's it gonna be? Wait, what if we make beans that are like Labubu dolls, but they're bean boo-boo dolls? Green grade sandwiches? Our new store. Enchiladas? Oh, I mean, I'd be down for that, dude, for real. Thank you for the 25 bits and Keto Kitsune. Thank you for resubscribing. Goodness, it's been 13 months, dude. You've been in the community for really long. Erandy the Mariner, thank you for the follow. Dreadfang, thank you for being here. Clandestine Merkbutt, thank you for the follow. Torg, thank you again for the sub. Really appreciate it, dude. I gotta figure out what's my venture because I'm trying to get a little piece of the pie here.
Competitors like McDonald's are like $2 million to open up a McDonald's. And this is where Subway's fixate.
I can't call them Beanie Babies. Come on. Oh my God, the Crusades.
With hyper expansion starts to bite them in the ass because, again, that's all they care about, just more Subways. More Subways is the answer. More Subways equals more money. Typically with a franchise, the franchising company like Subway or McDonald's is committed to making sure that their franchisees, aka their restaurant locations and their owners, are successful. There's a lot of ways that they do this, and one of the big ones is typically having territories. So like Chick-fil-A or McDonald's will look at a city and be like, okay, this city has one McDonald's, it's big enough for 2 McDonald's, but we're gonna stick it on the other end of town so both of these franchises can be successful. Subway, on the other hand, doesn't appear to give a shit because remember, all they care about is having more Subways. More equals more money, so they don't care how close they get put together, and there's Subways across the street from Subways all over America. I'm not exaggerating. In my small town in Iowa, there's 3 Subways and 2 of them are in the same parking lot. One of them is in Walmart and the other one is like 200 yards outside the front doors of Walmart as a standalone Subway. So obviously they start cannibalizing each other's profits. They're literally competing with themselves. And that's not even the worst part. The overall franchise agreement, I've looked into a lot of restaurants to have franchising. This is the worst one by far. I would be shocked if it's not the worst one on the planet. Not only if you open up a Subway, will they let somebody else open up another Subway right across the street and cannibalize a lot of your profits, they also have like the highest franchise fee that I've ever come across at 12.5%. And a franchise fee is taken from gross revenue, not gross profit, meaning before you even take out all the costs of running this business, Subway's taking 12.5% right off the top. To put it into perspective,
Bro, that's insane. Holy smokes. I mean, I guess that would lower like your tax liability per franchise though, no? And then like the main corporate would have to pay that.
McDonald's franchise fee is 8%, so Subway's is 50% higher for a much simpler business. And that's not even the worst part. In the Subway franchise agreement, well, in every franchise agreement, really, there's, terms where you can revoke somebody's franchise. Basically, like if a McDonald's or a Chick-fil-A isn't living up to the McDonald's or Chick-fil-A name, they can take away the name so you're no longer a McDonald's or a Chick-fil-A, so you don't ruin their reputation across the entire country. And Subway has the same thing. That's fine, but theirs is intentionally broad, and they can basically take your location from you for a wide variety of reasons, and they've been taken to court multiple times being accused of nitpicking minor stuff to take over very profitable locations, including in 2005 when they seized 2 Subways in Dallas, Texas from a lieutenant colonel in the Army Reserve who was actively on deployment in fucking Afghanistan. Now, to be fair, I don't know what their justification was for why they seized the locations, but considering the fact that in 2009 Subway lost the court case to said lieutenant colonel because they deemed it illegal, I'm gonna say they weren't fucking good enough. But hypothetically, just for fun, let's just say they were good reasons. Subway corporate identifies 2 restaurants in Dallas, Texas that aren't living up to the Subway standard, and they're like, what's going on here? What should we do? Oh, the owner's on deployment in fucking Afghanistan and isn't there to run it appropriately.
Bro, this story, and I keep pausing at like the best frames possible. I swear this, like, I thought, it would be like, oh, they betrayed each other because they wanted like the dough, and it's like, well, it's my idea, and then they're like in a fist fight for it. What is with these people like ruining great franchises? I swear, like, money does something to people, man. Money really does something to people, and I can't explain what it is. Maybe it just exposes how terrible people really are.
Should we A, step in and help during the most stressful time of their entire life, presumably? Or should we B, repo their businesses, take their family's livelihood, so that while they're also fighting a war, they can deal about their family back home and losing their business? Huge W for corporate Subway.
What? And on Memorial Day, no less, we get to hear this. This is insane.
Some look great. I'm sorry, I'm getting horrifically sidetracked, but you guys get it. The franchise agreement is complete and utter bullshit and has been for the majority, if not the entire time Subway's been in business. Back to the timeline. In the 1980s and the 1990s, Subway is growing like crazy, and then in 1999, they have their first major scandal when 32 people in Seattle got hepatitis from 2 different Subway locations for eating a sandwich. One of which was a 6-year-old boy who went into acute liver failure and had to get a liver transplant.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't understand what you said. Could you put that in layman terms for me?
I'll be honest, didn't even know you could get hepatitis from a sandwich, but a new fear has just been unlocked for me, and I think we can all agree that, the healthy, fresh option giving you hepatitis isn't a great look for Subway. So now Subway's hurting. They need a new PR campaign to turn this entire thing around, and in 2000, 1 year later, they find it in a college student that had lost like 250 pounds, supposedly only eating Subway, Jared Fogle. He starts filming commercials talking about how much weight he lost only eating Subway. He's bringing up his old pants and now he can fit in like one leg of the pants, showing off how much weight he lost. It is a humongous marketing success. Legitimately one of the most iconic and successful marketing campaigns of all time. Everybody knows Jared from Subway. He becomes the face of the company. It's so successful that Subway corporate said between 2000 and 2011, they credit Jared's ad campaign with 1/3 to 1/2 of their growth during that time, and during that time, they tripled in size. So you can't really argue with the results of this ad campaign. However, it's not something I would ever advise, having somebody off the street become the national spokesperson for your humongous company. Why? Because if they do some crazy shit, it's gonna make the entire company look bad, and this is why most huge companies have a fictional character as their mascot. You've got Ronald McDonald, Burger King, the Michelin Tire Man, Tony the Tiger. They're cartoons, they're safe. They're never gonna get pulled over for a DUI while they have a pile of blow and a hooker in the back seat. Like, that's the idea. And I'm sure you all know what I'm getting at, because in 2015, Jared Fogle ends up getting arrested and sent to federal prison for 15 years for, and I quote, illicit sexual conduct with a minor and having a bunch of illicit child material.
Oh, dude, my brain's actually gonna explode. Why are these people so garbage? Oh, the pain, dude.
On his computer. Okay, unpopular opinion, 15 years, not enough. Okay, there's nothing funny about this, but the amount of just tragic irony and foreshadowing that the college student that got famous for fitting into a smaller pair of pants ultimately gets put in federal prison for trying to get in little kids' pants is horrific. Now, that happened in 2015. Luckily for Subway, they...
Somebody get the flamethrower, please. Get the flamethrower, get him! Put the millstone around his neck! Holy smokes.
Kind of been phasing Jared out as their head of marketing since 2008 when they came out with the $5 footlong. Again, I'm not saying a lot of positive stuff about Subway, but their marketing team is on point, because the $5 footlong also is one of the most iconic marketing campaigns of all time. I mean, we all know the $5 footlong jingle. $5 footlong. The only jingle that's ever been made that's better than that is J.G. Wentworth, and I don't even know what the fuck J.G. Wentworth does, but I will know his song till the day I die. So the Subway $5 footlong absolutely dominates. This came out in 2008, right when, you know, the housing market crashed, the economy's in the tank. You could go and buy a footlong sandwich for $5. People loved it. Well, most people loved it. Pretty much everybody loved it except for the franchise owners, because the franchise owners were like making little to no money. Some of the sandwiches they were even losing money on at the $5 price point. But they have to do it because Subway can set the prices, and if they can't set the prices, they can at least advertise the fuck out of it so everybody that comes into your Subway expects a $5 footlong, and then once you've already made it and they're mad that it's not $5, what are you gonna do? Throw it away? You're gonna sell it for $5 and save what money you can. I know what you're thinking. Why would Subway be willing to make a $5 footlong if they're not making money on it? Oh, that's simple, because Subway corporate doesn't give a fuck about its franchise owners. At least that's what it would appear to be, right? They're screwing them over left and right, and Subway takes 12.5% of their gross revenue, meaning not profit. So they're taking 12.5% of that $5, even if it costs them $6 to make it. Subway corporate is still getting paid.
At a slendy end, a man
Mr. Mention Havadona. Dude, you know, maybe there's a reason I stopped eating Subway without knowing the true disgusting behavior behind the people, you know, supporting this nonsense. Also, I think we're gonna have an ad break soon here on Twitch, so I'm just gonna take a pause because my mind is just like, I think it exploded. I genuinely, like, the bro mentioned this guy and then dude did the other. I'm just like, I can't. I don't ever want to set foot in a Subway. Holy smokes, thank you for the donos, thank you for the super chats.
Man, Subway went through a lot in the past. Reminds me of KFC's history.
KFC, okay. What do I not know about KFC? I need to know what I'm missing out here. What happened with KFC? What's their history? Please, I don't want any more today. My heart's gonna break, and then we gotta watch a Costco video. Bro, we're genuinely cooked in America, bro. Like, these big great franchises, just the most despicable people in the world.
Fuck the franchise owner. And this is kind of the peak and then the downward slide of Subway, because the controversies just keep coming after this. First, they get busted because the footlongs aren't
1,000 kicks and this bottle of mystery hot sauce.
Thank you, Barrel of Mercy. I appreciate it. Thank you for the 1,000 kicks and the barrel of mystery hot sauce. Surely we won't find any rats or bats or China in that secret barrel of hot sauce you gave me.
Actually a foot long. People are walking in with tape measures, measuring them. They're 10 inches, 11 inches.
Bro, where's the missing inch on my foot long? Oh man, I gotta be careful. Hold on.
Not 12 inches. Okay, and I'm gonna kind of defend Subway on this one because this is a stupid complaint. It's the same amount of dough. They just didn't stretch it out enough before they put it in the oven. It's the same amount of bread, the same amount of calories. You're getting what you paid for. And that's really all Subway had to say. It was like, hey, sorry, the employee didn't stretch the dough out long enough before he stuck it in the oven, but all the bread is still there. And everybody would have been like, oh, that makes sense. That's cool. Do you think that's what Subway did? No. Absolutely not. Instead, they released an official statement on their Facebook that says, and I quote, with regards to the size of the bread and calling it a footlong, Subway Footlong is a registered trademark as a descriptive name for the sub sold in Subway restaurants and not intended to be a measurement of length. Translation, just because we call it a footlong doesn't mean you can expect it to be a foot long. That's just what we call it, you fucking idiot. Yeah, that Facebook post went about as well as you'd expect. They ended up taking it down. The balls to be like, we call it a footlong sub because we call it a foot-long sub, not because it's 12 inches long, and if you interpret it as that way, you're dumb, is insane. To be fair though, a 2x4 hasn't been a 2x4 since like 1960, and nobody seems to care. Probably because the lumber companies don't scoff and look at you like you're a moron if you expect a 2x4 to be 2x4, but whatever. So then, Subway loses their damn mind. They think they have trademarked the phrase footlong in regards to sandwiches, even though a footlong to them doesn't mean 12 inches, which ultimately leads them to suing Casey's gas station, which I've done a video on. My favorite pizza on the planet is Casey's gas station pizza. They file a...
All right, guys. I'm sorry to pause this, but he said that Casey pizza is really good. Where are my Little Caesars fans in the chat? No, I'm kidding.
Lawsuit against Casey's because Casey's also makes sub sandwiches, and their 12-inch long sandwich they call a foot long, so Subway tries to sue them for trademark infringement on a fucking measurement. A measurement that they don't even abide by. Do you understand how fucking insane that is? That'd be like if I opened up a milk company and I sold, quote, gallons of milk, and I trademarked the phrase gallon of milk, and then I only sold you 3 quarts of milk, and then I turned around and sued the motherfucker actually selling you a gallon of milk. It's insanity. Obviously, they lost this fucking lawsuit because duh. So Subway's on its down slump, and then they just lose all credibility as being healthy in the coming scandals. Buh! What do you mean it's not healthy? Jared lost 250 pounds doing it. Buh! Okay, Jared lost a bunch of weight because he was eating 2 6-inch subs a day, and they were mostly vegetables. He was eating like 1,200 calories. You can eat 1,200 calories of literally fucking anything, and you're gonna lose weight. If you eat 1,200 calories of Slim Jims and M&Ms, you're gonna lose weight, especially if you're doing a bunch of cardio, chasing children at a playground like that sick pervert. In 2017, CBS, the news network, decided they were going to conduct a little study on Subway chicken. They went, they bought a sandwich, they took the chicken, took it to a lab, and found out that the chicken that Subway sells is anywhere from 42% to 53% chicken. What the fuck is the rest of it? Wait, let me guess. You trademarked the term chicken breast, and now if anybody assumes that a chicken breast is made out of chicken, we're obviously fucking stupid. Is that what it is? Thankfully, no, they learned their lesson. They did not go that route again. What they did was they're like, okay, we're fucking up. We're gonna make sure that the chicken is actually 100% chicken. No, I'm just kidding. They turned around and tried to sue CBS for malicious news and took them to court, and they lost again. Because as it turns out, it's not illegal to tell the truth.
There is no way in hell that I am going to say, oh, I'm really worried I'm going to say it.
Then in 2020 in Ireland was instituting a new tax where they were going to, have to tax more on food made in restaurants, and Subway came to the table and they argued, well, Ireland has certain staple foods that you can't increase taxes on, and one of those staple foods is bread, and we make all of our bread fresh in our restaurants. We should be exempt from this tax. Okay, not a big fan of Subway right now. I'll admit it. I'll be up front. However, that's a reasonable point, and Ireland agrees. And Ireland is like, okay, we hear you. Send some bread off to the lab, and we'll take a look at it. They send the bread off to the lab, and the Irish Supreme Court comes back and says, there's so much fucking sugar in this bread, you're not legally allowed to call this bread in the country of Ireland.
Dude. Get destroyed. Like how retarded can you be? This is why people have brain problems, bro. They pump the bread full of sugar and other nonsense. Like, bread's not even bread anymore. If you're in America, like, if I go to Italy right now, bro, and get myself a pasta bowl and some bread, that's a real bread. America? Good luck.
You have to classify this as cake. You're selling cake sandwiches. And all of this just keeps coming out one after another after another. It's promoted by a pedophile. The franchises aren't making money. The footlong sandwiches are only 10 inches long and they're not bread. They're made out of cake. Half the chicken inside the chicken isn't even fucking chicken. Obviously, it leads to the public perception that Subway isn't that fucking healthy. And while all this is going on, they get rid of the $5 footlong and jack the fucking prices through the roof and then add a tip screen at checkout. Needless to say, Subway's in the fucking tank. They've closed down 7,600 locations since 2015, and they're closing down hundreds, if not thousands of locations every single year, and they are on a humongous decline. And this entire thing is just a textbook example of shitty leadership ruining an A-grade idea, because a Subway franchise was a golden idea, a brilliant idea. Super cheap to start up, didn't need any specialized equipment. Everybody that knows how to breathe and chew bubble gum can learn how to make a sandwich in like 5 seconds. It was so easy to make a ton of money, but instead, Subway corporate was like, we're gonna make as much money as possible and fuck over all the franchisees, even though they're on our team. All they had to do was be like, hey, we're gonna structure this in a way so that the franchisees are winning, then we're gonna win, and everybody's gonna fucking win. But no, they took the easy way out to make as much money as they could, as fast as they could, and they didn't give a shit about anybody else, and it tanked the entire company. They ended up selling to Rourke Capital in 2024, which owns Jimmy John's and Arby's and a bunch of other restaurants, so hopefully...
I don't like Arby's. But hey, another terrible company to add to the list, am I right? Wink.
A lot of this bad leadership stuff is gone already, or if not, it's getting phased out. Also, I've talked an outrageous amount of shit in this entire video, so I want to take a minute and just be like, hey, I understand if you're mad at Subway right now too. I am as well. However, your local Subway branch probably isn't owned by Big Subway. It's probably owned by somebody in your community that's just trying to make a living making sandwiches, and don't take it out on them. It's not their fault, and they're probably a lot more mad at corporate Subway than we are. Trust me. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch, maybe drink some Echelon. Links for both of those are over at the Fat Electrician.
Oh my, dude, like, is the Costco video gonna top this and the other one? Because I don't know what to expect anymore from these companies. I know they're like terrible, but dude, if Costco's bad, I might not renew my membership next year. I'm not sure. Cake sandwich. Get your bread from a bakery, but like, what if you can't trust the bakery either, bro? Like, who do you trust? You're better. I've made bread at home before, and it's actually really good. Oh my gosh, is the Costco, like, can somebody tell me if the Costco video is gonna be worse than this one? Because I need to prepare myself at this point. I really do.